Coming up.
An overweight transgendered man called Brian has won Miss America beauty pageant.
It's going too crazy. I mean, look at Eddie Izzard wants to run as a woman Labour MP. Yeah. It's just not fair.
The Jaffa Cake factory in Aintree has gone on permanent strike. Excuse me, would you like a Jaffa Cake? Welcome to That Was the Woke That Was, the topical quiz show that gives you the opportunity to hear the wokest stories of the week and decide whether they're true or false. On my teams tonight are Pete Barnes and Lizzie Cundy and Mahyar Tousi and Emma Barr. Let's get this party started. An overweight transgendered man called Brian, and it is Brian, has won Miss America beauty pageant in New Hampshire this week. Is it true or false?
Do you know what? I think it could be true.
It could be true
because it's gone. The woke's gone mad.
Yeah.
And I can actually see this happening.
Are you worried about the number of transgendered people who are taking over women's sports?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it's absolutely insane that you can have someone who is very clearly has a male anatomy competing in a swimming gala against women who are then pushed down the rankings. And it's quite absurd when you have them standing on the podium next to each other and you're thinking, how is this possibly a fair fight?
The one that always made me laugh, Pete, was that weightlifter who looked like Meatloaf. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it just reminds you of going back to the Olympics during the 80s, when, you know, when you had the Soviet Union and all that,
the German shot putting.
The German shot putting, yeah, you're just like, which toilet are they going to walk into? But yeah,
now they're all unisex.
Now they're all unisex,
yeah, but we've got to, it is going too crazy. I mean, look at Eddie Izzard wants to run as a woman Labour MP. I mean, there is a time where we've just got to say it's just not fair, and it's not fair. Why are we dehumanising women? You know?
And it is a war on women in many respects, Lizzie, isn't it? Because what annoys me is I was watching a sad situation in one of the US states where these very gifted young ladies were saying that in their 200 metres or 400 metres or whatever it was, you know, what they were competing for was 5th, 6th and 7th, because they just knew there was no way of getting the top 4 slots.
Well, exactly, and you've got the DNA. We've made differently, you know, men's DNA. I couldn't, you know, if my ex-husband decided to become a woman, I still wouldn't, you know, beat him in anything because he's a strong man, and it's just not fair.
One of the worst things is I feel sorry for the women that do come out, you know, the professional athletes and things. They sort of get shot down, they get dragged through Twitter, like they are on the real sour end of some nasty abuse for even daring to challenge the kind of new orthodoxy.
Yeah,
and those people I feel sorry for.
These are real issues that need to be talked about, but when it comes to this story, I'm more concerned about the fact there's an overweight person destroying the whole pageantry stuff. On the one hand, to be fair, I've actually put on a bit of a beer belly that even the producers told me to stop wearing tight t-shirts. Stop wearing
It wasn't the producers.
And you were showing off your cleavage in the as we were getting ready today.
I mean, I've asked the question before that if I shave my back and call myself Karen, will I become a woman?
At the moment, there's plenty of problems with Karens in general at the moment.
But does that make it OK for you to then go into a woman's changing room?
Well, we can only hope. But the other thing that I don't understand is the way that Keir Starmer turns around and sort of goes, you know, we need more women in politics. Just define yourself as a woman. Yeah. That'd be it. According to the Labour Party, if you just got every single Labour MP, every single Labour member of the House of Lords, every single Labour councillor, and all of them just went, I'm a woman, then that would solve the problem.
But Keir Starmer doesn't even know what a woman is, does he? He was asked, what's a woman? I mean, please, can we have someone leading our country who doesn't even know what a woman is, or say it?
It wasn't the last conference, they had the conference before that. This issue dominated their entire kind of narrative, and it is very concerning that, you know, what is essentially potentially going to be the next government has this wishy-washy idea and no clear policy on this issue. So,
I wonder why no one's actually thought about this. We have to actually flip the question, start asking them, what is a man then? Do you know what a man is? Like, see what they say about that. Are they still going to be confused, or do they know what a man is?
But there is one thing I will say about trans stuff and being a transvestite and all that sort of thing. I considered very briefly getting a job in Dubai. It was just an ill-fated plan. And one
not with without your skin tone.
What I thought would be very practical was to wear a burqa, right? The reason is, it's like you're a bit hungover in the morning, you want to go out to the shops, you can't be bothered getting ready, put your burqa on, put your full burqa on, and you'll be sorted. They said it's a criminal offence. It's a criminal offence in the United Arab Emirates to wear women's clothes.
Wow.
Well, there you go. Wow.
So they're more pro-women.
Yeah.
But they're saying...
let's not get that far.
Even now, Indiana Jones, they don't want as a man. It could be a woman. James Bond as a woman. Come on, it's just woke gone mad.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, OK, is a transgendered, overweight man called Brian, has he won the New Hampshire American beauty pageant Miss America?
I'd say yes. Yes,
it is absolutely true. Unbelievable. So to Maya and to Emma, the Met Police's anti-terror chief, Matt Dukes, has been criticised for wearing a menopause vest to work, which simulates hot flushes.
So anti-terror, obviously, so that's the area, and he's wearing a vest. Does he actually think that this is some sort of training to prepare for some sort of terror attack?
Maybe he's preparing to transition.
but why? Well, I mean, there are all these other departments, wokey departments that focus on mean tweets. If they wear a menopause vest, I get it. Well, anti-terror, we have problems in this country, national security, and you should really have hot flushes. Stop having hot flushes.
It's basically your concern about this question. We've seen wokery in the police. We understand that there's a lot of them that are obsessed with all of these politically correct things, but you're hoping upon hoping that people that keep us safe from Al-Qaeda terrorist attacks are not interested in this topic.
Not making things much more difficult for them.
Exactly.
I would rather they were focusing on, counteracting terror than they were focusing on gimmicks that they can tweet about.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing, Emma, actually, because these vests are intended to enable men to have a more difficult day as a result of simulating hot flushes. Now, what I would do is attempt to do some medical research on how to make hot flushes less bad for women. But OK, there we go. But if you were trying to stop terrorist attacks, bombs, machine gun attacks, terrorists getting into Britain, sitting there worrying about having your made-up hot flush shouldn't be top priority, should it?
Absolutely not. I think we should be doing everything to make their lives and abilities to do their job easier so they do a better job or the best of their ability, not trying to make it harder in any way, and certainly not for some cheap headline.
If this is true, I mean, it's a jokey thing, but actually it's a metaphor to the whole concept of leftism, because instead of bringing people up, they want to bring the others down. We talk about the economic stuff like socialism. That's the same thing. Instead of making things better for women, they say, well, let's make men suffer too, so that's equality. Like, what?
What about the concept of having a police force rather than a police service? Surely kicking in bad guys is your principal job, not worrying about hot flushes and, my name's... what's it? My name's Bella.
I absolutely agree. Peter and I always talk about this. Every time in this country something happens, some people on Twitter say, water cannons. I think it's time. Water cannons.
Water cannons.
Wash off me makeup.
A cold water cannon if you're having a hot flush. I've got to say.
No, listen, clearly you don't know anything about that.
I don't know. I'm not there yet with hot flushes.
She's 25.
I am not the age of Cher yet. But let me just...
Born in 25.
Yes, square wheels. No. But this is just crazy. Look, we've said time and time again about the police. Please be what you're supposed to be, policing. This is so mad. And we've got the rainbows on the cars, everything else. Do what you're supposed to do. Stop all these gimmicks for headlines.
Do we believe that Matt Dukes, the head of anti-terror at the Met, has been wearing a hot flush top?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm genuinely depressed to say that it's true. No. Actually, do you know what? The whole studio is full.
I've never been sad.
I'm actually having a
OK, so that is 35 points to you, and you're already on 15 points. Right, now we've talked about the mark scheme. OK, so I'm a Celebrity viewers have complained to Ofcom after Matt Hancock's bathing scene was considered too erotic for family viewing. Is it true or false?
Matt Hancock?
Yeah,
I don't think so, because there's nothing erotic about Matt Hancock.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sorry. Though a snake did, I think, went up his...
it was a scorpion that bit him, wasn't it? It's a scorpion. I have to admit, I've watched absolutely none of it, and it's not my kind of TV show. I don't watch stuff like that. But I've seen people talking about it on Twitter and everything, and the country's weirdly obsessed with it. Like, it's in a way that they're punishing him rather badly, but also, like, he's doing this thing where he's being able to turn his image around.
Yeah, but he's winning. He's doing them so effortlessly.
Yeah. This is the thing, Lizzie, and I've not watched it either, but I was on Planks of the Week the other week, and Isabel Oakeshott said that she believed Matt Hancock was going to win. For two reasons, and the reasons were, number one, he's not going to be bitchy about other contestants, and number two, he will get on with all of the challenges and just complete them.
Yeah. And also, the other thing, with the other celebrities in there, they're not actually saying it to his face, they're all talking about him behind their back, and, you know, the public don't like that. Yes. They'd like someone to come out and front him straight on.
I'm not being funny. In a competition, who do you think's more bitchy, Boy George or Matt Hancock? I mean,
listen,
honest, right?
But look, Boy George, he's a good friend of mine, not name dropping. He's a good friend. All right. And look, Boy George has served his time, and he's now, you know, hasn't drunk a bit, he's sober, and he's going to do a good job. He just wants to cook. Let him cook. And he's not being allowed to do that. But Matt Hancock, look, he's done very well in all the challenges. I mean, he's literally flied through. He's like James Bond, I swear. That could be the next one. But it's a rebrand for him, let's be honest, and he's not going to have a political career.
I've got a friend who went to Boy George's house. He's got a dungeon.
Everybody made fun of like politicians going on these things because it's a bit weird. Ironically, this could be a genius move from his PR agents and all the staffers because it's working. You know, he could become the next Prime Minister.
He's reinvented himself. It's a rebrand, and he's reinventing himself. For those that all hated him at the start, they're now loving him.
I suppose that's right, actually. I mean, it's almost like being Adolf Hitler's PR agent. You can't be any less popular, can you, really?
I must see, keep me in here, sort of thing.
You know, can I tell you something, Lizzie? Adolf Hitler's the only person you've not claimed to be friends with.
Well, PR agent, whoever's in his social media team in, I don't know, Parliament or whoever, is doing a cracking job. If you see some of the piss-taking, basically, of their boss, when he can't control their social media. If I were them, I'd be a bit worried about when he comes out and sees all the stuff they've been posting.
Also, I'm concerned about the fact that every time we do a show like this, every week we have to call the company lawyers.
Oh, the company lawyers. At least we're keeping them in Sky.
Anyway, I was going to say, we literally walk out of the studio and into their office.
I actually don't think Matt's done anything. I just don't think he's done anything wrong. No. I don't know with this one. What do you think?
So in that case, let's put the question to you. I'm a Celebrity viewers have complained to Ofcom after Matt Hancock's bathing scene was considered too erotic for the family viewing.
I'll go with about to my knowledge.
No. It is absolutely false. 28. Has your opinion of Matt Hancock improved since he went into the jungle?
Do you know, he's actually really funny. But I don't stand by what he done. I had members of my family pass away and we couldn't be at their funeral. We have to watch it on Zoom, and there he is having a way with his secretary. It's not fair at all. So as much as he's funny and everything, you still don't forget.
Do you think it's wrong that he's able to get all the money off his constituents and still continue in the jungle?
Of course I do. Like, same as everyone else. Good night, chaps.
But what about the Matt Hancock argument that says, well, I'm going into the jungle, this will introduce more people to what politicians are like?
Well, in my opinion, anybody who watches that programme is probably not worth cultivating anyway. I think it's a terrible programme.
He's doing well in there, but they're very much seen him as just a campmate. But then again, how much of it's real? Because it's a very good publicity stunt for him.
You know, it's a lot of wannabes trying to make money out of a programme that I suppose it appeals to certain people, but not to us. You know, at the end of the day, you know, he's
never watch it. To be honest with you,
he's done it for a reason.
Money,
probably. But who am I to say?
Well, I mean, to be fair, 400 grand's a lot of cash. Well, I don't know if it is for you. It is for me.
It is, oh, yes, definitely.
I mean, he's doing it for the money, isn't he? Let's be honest.
He's doing it to try and get more street cred. And it's not going to work, is it?
Well, I mean, eating a camel's penis doesn't get you street cred, not round our way.
Is that what they do, is it?
That's what he's done.
Ah, I wonder what that tastes like, actually.
I mean, one of the things that I felt very strongly about, I used to work in the House of Commons, and if you've got an urgent problem and you go to your Member of Parliament, they can't do anything if they're in the jungle. And so that's somebody for 3 weeks if there is an urgent issue.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure they've got a deputy. I'm sure he has a deputy.
Doesn't
deputy.
exist.
Oh, wow, okay.
And he can't be thrown out by his voters either.
I didn't know that. No. I didn't know that.
OK, now you know that. Has he gone down in your estimation? Supermarket chain Morrisons has renamed its gingerbread man to gingerbread person to provide inclusivity to all.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
They do know that gingerbread is gingerbread. It's not a person.
It's a biscuit.
You can't cancel gingerbread.
They're not actually.
It doesn't have an actual. Oh,
No, it's maybe got too much sugar in or something.
I need a break.
Well.
You talk.
Oh God, I can definitely believe it at the moment. We can't define what a man or a woman is. We can't even define what a gingerbread man or woman is.
Oh, you were politically correct. Croissants.
No.
Right. So croissants. This is absolutely true. Croissants were originally baked in celebration of the defeat of the Islamic Crusade, which got all the way to the Netherlands, and it used to be in a crescent because that is the symbol of Islam. But you will not find a crescent-shaped croissant.
Is that a true story?
I did not know that.
That's a true story.
I didn't know that.
Well, do you know what croissant means? Croissant is crescent in French.
Oh.
So now
I feel very ignorant.
I'm really ignorant.
Do you know a pain chocolat was a celebration of the defeat of Ho Chi Minh? No, I'm joking.
I was going to say, are we in history lesson?
Yes.
My favourite thing about that is how we leaned in.
No.
Come on, let me tell you. OK, so is the supermarket chain Morrisons renaming its gingerbread man to gingerbread person to provide inclusivity to all?
This is disgusting.
We've got to have some hope in life. I've got to be optimistic.
No, it has to be true, unfortunately.
OK, fine, we'll go with you.
True.
It is absolutely true. That is 300 points.
That's
OK. The supermarket chain Morrisons has decided to change gingerbread men into gingerbread people to promote inclusivity. I'm a little bit worried about it, so I thought I'd go out and about to find out what the British public think.
Too much wokeism at the moment. You know, basically, it's always been a gingerbread man, and it should always remain a gingerbread man.
Gingerbread man's wife.
I'm old-fashioned, sorry, gingerbread man.
But why? Aren't we being a little bit unfair to the trans community?
Again, before my time, I'd stick with gingerbread men, thank you.
The thing is, I'm really worried about it when it goes further into trans sports and all this sort of thing. You see these young women now who just can't compete in competitions.
Well, absolutely. I mean, basically, I'm having hormone treatment for my cancer, and I've probably got more female hormones than a Russian shot putter.
And they're now calling them gingerbread people.
Why?
I don't really know. I think it's maybe to be generous to the trans community. I mean, look, none of us want to be impolite, but at the same time, to me, this is either a gingerbread man or a gingerbread woman.
Okay. Yeah. I work in HR. I need to be quiet.
Yeah, she needs to be quiet. HR.
And Morrisons are calling them gingerbread people in order to be more inclusive. Is that a sensible thing to do?
I don't really want to pass comment on that one. That's too close to the edge.
Everyone's always nervous.
Absolutely, I'm very nervous.
Would you be willing to eat the gingerbread man?
No.
Have you had a couple tonight?
No, I haven't, but I've had a nice Indian just down the road.
You don't want to be impolite with people, do you?
No, you don't, but it is what it is. You can say gingerbread man or a gingerbread woman. I don't believe it's disrespecting anyone. It's just what it is.
What do you think of that?
Absurd. Too much wokeness in America.
I'll eat his head if you eat his bum.
No. No, I'll eat his head. No.
Oh no, you can eat his head.
Is it talk to me? You're actually on TV or is this radio?
No, it's TV.
Right. I'll leave you to finish off both your gingerbreads.
I've eaten his genitals.
Cheerio. Thank you very much.
Thank you, goodbye. Just Stop Oil spokesperson and all-round good un, Indigo Rumbelow, has been exposed as a hypocrite after flying around the world. She has recently holidayed in Sweden, Lithuania, Croatia and Nepal twice. Now, before we do that, I just want to play a little game with all of you, right? You've got to come up with your Extinction Rebellion or Just Stop Oil name. And what you do is you come up with the last place you went on holiday, followed by the last vegetable you ate. Now, mine is Krakow sprout. So what is yours, Lizzie?
Grease gherkin.
Grease gherkin.
Lanzarote cauliflower.
Emma?
Scotland salad.
Scotland salad.
Mine's good. Antalya avocado.
Antalya avocado.
That's very
All right, got Waitrose in the corner over there.
OK, so back to the question. Indigo Rumbelow, is she a globetrotter? I mean, she sounds like one, doesn't she?
Of course she is.
My favourite thing about this, though, is when you actually look into Just Stop Oil, they've clearly got some money behind them. So why can't they afford some media training for the people that they're putting on these shows?
We interviewed one here at Talk, and they didn't know what the facts were. We were saying, why are you doing it? And they were like, for your children,
Yeah.
and their future. Well, I've got a future too. And what it's about,
Do you
they had
love
no
your
idea.
children?
I do love my
Do you
children.
love your children?
But I'm not going to stick myself to a motorway. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it.
No, she sticks to the seat.
Yes, I do.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? The minute these people go off script and they're asked a question that they're not briefed for, they panic. They look like deer in the headlights. And I just don't understand why they keep putting these people up.
They are massively privileged. I mean, we made this joke about Krakow sprout and Lanzarote burger or whatever it is. I don't know, right? But this is what these people are like. You know, they don't understand the real world. They don't care if they damage people's livelihoods.
But it's the ones that you see on TV, like Indigo, they're not even the real ones, because you've got the actual green lobby money, but then you actually have the organisers. They don't even actually go on TV. It's sort of like the extremist groups who send the suicide bombers as to kind of just utilise them first as collateral damage. They just use the Indigos and the Tarquins, get them over with, and then they come and basically say, we're going to go to COP27, the big boys, and then we're going to actually lobby the governments. We should be more afraid of them rather than Indigo or Tarquin. We talk about these guys, but we actually have to talk about them.
Totally. And they've all got very, like, pink hair, high, screechy voices and very posh and
Why
very
are they
annoying.
always crying?
Yeah.
You watch these videos on Twitter.
They're not crying. They're pretending to cry. They can't even cry
properly.
Absolutely. Now, OK, so do we think... I mean, this is a waste of time for question, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. Do you believe that Indigo Rumbelow is a highly privileged...
Indigo.
over wealthy globetrotter who's just doing this because she's on a trust fund? I mean, what's the point to this question?
Yes, Indigo, yes.
What a surprise. It's true. OK, 48 points. OK, now, on to comedian. Joe Lycett has vowed to destroy £10,000 of his own money if David Beckham does not cut his £10 million deal with Qatar.
This happens when a society and a state spoil the country with printing money like there's no tomorrow. People start
bring it back to inflation.
That's
another reason it's the Tory government's fault.
I must admit, nothing on my question says that Joe Lycett was moving against quantitative easing. but we never know. It's possible.
Trust Mahyar.
Shred away.
It's possible that Lycett's principal concern was the issue of quantitative easing leading to inflation in working class communities. Therefore, he decided to incinerate some of his own money. That's not what's down on the sheet. Has to be said.
Just about. Yeah, what do you think?
I think it's probably true. I think when we've seen some of his performances on TV before, I can believe he would do that.
But actually,
or at least say he was going to.
OK, so it is absolutely true. But I just want to ask you this question. Do you not think there is something good about this in the sense that he's putting his own money where his mouth is?
Well, it's unusual, but surely the good thing to do would be to give the money to charity either way and not involve David Beckham in some sort of gimmick.
And that amount's not going to affect David Beckham, is it? He's got millions to advertise.
Massive help to whatever charity he's giving to.
I don't know. One thing I will say about David Beckham, he's so desperate for a knighthood. I reckon if you told him to give that £10 million to lesbian, gay and bisexual charities, he would do it. They'd just go, we'll give you a knighthood. But like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Sorry. That was my personality.
I don't know if anybody's watched the video that he put out on this, but I do like the fact that he's actually called out David Beckham, because Gary Neville has got a lot of stick over doing the exact same thing. And David Beckham is kind of skirted completely unnoticed on this issue, and I have to.
It's because he queued, I think.
Yeah,
he queued for the Queen.
He's still getting like positive credit.
Partly because Gary Neville chaired "Have I Got News for You?"
Yeah,
exactly.
Well.
Yeah.
But I think Joe's done a good stunt because it's brought attention to the.
That also brings me to another issue with this. Is it just a stunt? Is Joe Lycett doing it because he really cares about this issue, or is he Joe Lycett doing it because he wants some attention?
I think he does.
I think to be fair to Joe Lycett, he's been a regular on the gay issue.
Yeah.
Let's just say that, right? I mean, there are some people who arrive from nowhere on a particular issue. R4 being a good example. Right? But to be fair, the Lycett has been well into the gay stuff for a long time.
Did you see the jacket? Did you see the jacket he was in? It looked like the Strictly Ballroom ball.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, I think he's doing this as a stunt. He's not going to get rid of 10,000, but I think he's doing it to bring attention to the human rights.
Joe Lycett always looks to me like a cross between sort of a birthday cake and a Christmas tree. The Jaffa Cake factory in Aintree has gone on permanent strike over pay and conditions, and we reckon there's going to be no Jaffa Cakes available for Christmas. So I've been out and about in London to find out what people think. Excuse me, would you like a Jaffa Cake? Rubbish. No, I didn't catch her up. I thought I'd catch her at the red light, but she sped away. Now, come on, you're at the cookie place. So I want to say to you that are you aware that the Jaffa Cake factory's gone on strike and there might be no Jaffa Cakes in Britain for Christmas?
Oh, it's terrible.
So what are you going to do about it? It's soft and cake-like.
It is.
Chocolatey and orangey.
Yes. Yeah, it's both those things.
We often hear about Brazil being a developing nation. Do you think when they become a developed nation, they'll get into Jaffa Cakes?
Yeah, I hope so.
A Jaffa Cake, look, there you go. And so I waved, is that your dad?
Okay.
Hey. He's currently on talkTV. Jaffa Cakes might not be available this Christmas as a result of a strike. Are we worried? Come on, would you like a Jaffa Cake?
No.
Why not?
I don't like chocolate.
Why don't you like chocolate?
It's my wish.
It's fantastic chocolate. if you eat lots of chocolate, you'll end up looking like me.
Exactly. So
no,
I want to look like you.
That is a good thing.
No, that's a horrible thing.
What are you saying? I look horrible?
Ask yourself.
I'm devastated. Excuse me, you look as if you're working hard. Can I offer you a Jaffa Cake? Now, come on, do you want one? There you go. Get your lights out of the way. You'll be all right. Look, let's get your mate at the top. There we go. Are you concerned there'll be no Jaffa Cakes for Christmas? You're not worried about it? Would you like a Jaffa Cake? No? Waka. It's a great British export.
No.
What are your favourite British exports? Mine are crime, poverty and ignorance. Dominic Raab has been accused of throwing tomatoes across a table in a fit of rage during a briefing in Downing Street.
How dare you? He did that in the green room earlier.
Did he?
It's
what was
very
it, tomatoes?
Well, I don't like tomatoes, so there's a strong chance.
He did, I saw you.
I'll tell you the best thing about the green room, they've got rid of those crisps that support the RNLI. Because I'll tell you what, I made a formal complaint about that. Not only were the crisps not the flavours I liked, but they also supported an immigration policy that's not the flavour I like.
That's good. Well, yes, I do know a little bit about this. And he has got a little bit, he's been alleged to have a bit of a temper and quite stern. And I can imagine him throwing a tomato
My issue with
out of his
this
sarnie.
is we're hearing loads of stories about bullying from ministers of the civil service. What are they classing as bullying?
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing, because, you know, we've all worked in offices where, you know, someone's in a bad mood and you just snap at somebody.
Yeah.
And, I
can imagine Winston Churchill, someone shouting if they
Winston,
didn't do the right thing.
Winston Churchill apparently used to call some of his senior advisors in whilst he was having a bath.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest with you, there's many things about Winston Churchill I'd like to see, but I mean, his little nut, you just don't want to...
Not in a bath, especially if it's a bit cold. But no...
Oh, come on. Lizzie.
No.
I love Winston Churchill, but whether it was hot or cold, what difference?
He's a bulldog. He's a bulldog.
It wouldn't look like a mushroom in the forest.
No, but look, I think you're very. This is true. And there's a fine line, isn't there, between bullying and just being firm with someone. And I think, but Dominic has been known to have a little bit of a temper, and he doesn't like his tomatoes.
But isn't there a side to this which is slightly unfair? Which is, if you ever challenge the civil service now, suddenly they can just go, "Oh, he's bullying me. He's bullying me." You know, like the meerkat.
We're going to go on strike.
I'd like them to do some research into how many leaks there's been during the last 4 or 5 years from the civil service compared to any other point in history, because the civil service leaks more than a sieve these days. And I think that's my real concern about this story. Honestly, Dominic Raab's behaviour, if it's true, is concerning. But we need to have a conversation about, are the civil service as politically neutral as they're supposed to be? That's the real bit of this story.
Well, they're
for
not. Now they're wanting more money.
Yeah.
And you do give more money when you're doing a good job,
I'll tell you what, leak neutral could be a member of Extinction Rebellion, couldn't they? But look, in terms of what you see, Mahyar, because you're in the Westminster Village on a regular basis, you know, do you think... drinking? Yeah, OK, I get that. But let's try and be serious for a second. But you know, is it unfair the way ministers are being attacked by this fifth column of trade unionists within the civil service?
Not just trade unionists, it's the way the media hit jobs work these days. You know, the concept of journalism and media, we're always supposed to be to hold power to account and all that, but not really go after random stuff. On the other hand, it's not really snowballing like Gavin Williamson's scandal. And the funny thing is that it's mainly because no one cares about the tomato. It's not as important. And I think genuinely it's discrimination against tomatoes. We need a proper official statement from the Farming Environment Department, DEFRA, and the tomato lobby to find out why this story is not getting...
By the way, for an additional point for anybody, if you can tell me what Gavin Williamson's nickname was when he was Secretary of State for Defence.
I definitely know this.
Yeah, I know this.
I will tell you what the answer is. The answer is Private Pike in a reference to Dad's Army, which I think is absolutely...
That's spot on, actually, isn't it? Yeah, but look, Rishi has chosen these people. He chose Braverman, Williamson, you know, and they're getting one person after the next, and now it's Dominic's turn.
OK, so
it's never ending.
I kind of know which way you're going on this, but did Dominic Raab throw tomatoes when he was angry?
True. Yes, he did.
Absolutely, allegedly true. OK, so on to Emma and Mahyar. Activists from Just Stop Oil have formed a splinter group called Just Stop Soap. They are demanding that protesters stop washing their genitals until the government gives in to their demands to end fossil fuels.
From the look of some of them at the moment, I think they've been doing that for a while.
I've got to be honest with you. I think the key to answering this question is to know whether it was official or not. That's the key question.
But that's the funny thing is, because we always joke about, oh, they don't wash, you know, they're not clean. Actually, in reality, they shouldn't, because all these soaps and all this stuff is mixed with all the chemicals that are bad for the environment anyway. So technically, they should never actually use soap if they truly care about the environment.
But what are you talking about? Why are you making that as a joke? That's literally what's happening. The point of the question is...
That's why they stick to the motorway.
The point of the question is, are they admitting it?
Art imitates life.
I mean, someone has to tell them how the glue is made. They're not going to be happy about that.
And the paint.
And the paint, yes.
Some of it's probably
It all started with that Swampy. Do you remember him? He was disgusting.
Yeah. Actually, I want to ask you, because obviously, you know, you're a normal human. You care about clean air, clean water, environment.
Mahyar is the token.
As an alleged human, you care about clean air, clean water, but do you also see a bit of damage being done by these idiots to the cause?
Oh, absolutely. So much damage to the cause, because you look at these... people, ambulances being stopped, for example, people not being able to get to work. If you're on an hourly wage, that means you might not be able to feed your kids that week. And people's normal lives are being disrupted. And when people see that, they tie in the whole environmental narrative with this destructive behaviour, and they are totally separate. I think it's doing untold damage to the green cause.
Emma, do we live in a society where what you say is more important than what you do? So it doesn't matter if you fly around the world like Indigo Rumbelow, just as long as you, every now and again, kick off about climate change.
I think we live in a society where that will get you a lot of fame and it will get you on TV, but I don't think it's more important. I think if you took a poll, I mean, we always say, you know, we don't go by polls, blah, blah, blah. But if you looked at the amount of the public's view of these protesters, I think it's gone down and down and down.
Okay,
People
well,
lose sympathy,
in that
don't
case,
they?
sorry, Lizzie, let me ask you then. Do you think it matters that the public are angry about these people's behaviour? Because they don't seem to care. They seem to revel in it.
Well, I think it's very important. You can see the public that are actually moving them off the roads instead of the policemen that are standing around and offering them, you know, bottles of water. The public have had enough. And I have to say, you know, look at COP27, for example, everyone flying in on jets. And how is that helping the climate? And when you ask these people why they're doing this, they have no facts.
Lizzie, who's got the bigger jet, the British government or you?
Well, obviously, you know the answer to this, right, Pete?
OK, so the critical point about this question was clearly we all know they are soap dodgers. The question is whether they've set up Just Stop Soap as a formal organisation.
Oh, they can't.
They are nutters, but no. I know they did some ridiculous stuff, but I really want this to be false. So,
yeah, it's got to be. It's
please
really
be
got to be.
False.
It is absolutely false. 800 points. Well done.
OK. The relief in this studio right now.
Now, Lizzie, this is definitely one for you.
OK.
Angela Rayner has revealed that she borrowed £5,600 to have a boob job on her 30th birthday. Come on, have you looked at the Rayners' boobs and thought?
I actually have. They're magnificent. They are. There's only her legs are great too. They're the only things I like about her, to be honest.
The only things I like.
Your best friends as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm not she.
So hang on a second. So the only people you're not friends with are Hitler and Angela Rayner.
And Jeremy Corbyn.
And Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah. I think.
I don't know, because this is one of those things when it comes to this
They're
kind
fine
of stuff.
So let's unpick it, actually. Do we think the Rayners had a boob job for a 30th birthday? And do we believe that she borrowed the money to do it? I think there's two elements to that, isn't there?
Because she has been a little bit hypocritical in the past. She's been found out quite a bit. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say she's had a boob job.
But are you going to say that she borrowed the money?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
That is absolutely true. Now, look, I do want to ask a question to you, Lizzie. Is it important that people in politics have a good image and look the part? Because, you know, if you look at the sort of, I don't know, Barbara Castle and Anne Widdecombe's, you know, in the past, people were very critical of them for not looking after their appearance.
I don't think it's what they say and more importantly, what they do. I mean, look at Boris. His shirt was never tucked in. He had food on his top whenever I saw him. People are too much into image, and I actually think it's more what they actions speak louder than their image.
I think you're right on that, but I do think we're starting to move away from it, though. I do think we're starting to move away from that.
And I think
it went
against Rishi in his Prada tight little suits, and that, you know.
Do you like my tight little suits? Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
I do think, though, there's a bit of an element of respect. You're going into a workplace. You should dress to be going to work. I don't think that you need to be dressed up to the nines or, you know, like you're going to a nightclub. But, I mean, you know, you wouldn't go into a bank without wearing a suit or something, would you? Well, you might, but...
But we always looked at Boris, and his shirt was never tucked in, his tie was never pulled up straight. And we let him get away with it, didn't we? But we let him get away with quite a lot, actually.
Can I tell you an amazing fact? I've got a friend of mine who's a hairdresser. I won't say which friend, though you're going to guess. But he walked up to Boris and had a look at his hair and says to me, he does not cut it with nail clippers. He actually gets a very, very good barber to make it look like he cuts it with nail clippers. Apparently, the way it's shaped just can't be done with nail clippers by a member of the public. The things you learn on this show. Well, the BBC is 100 years old, so I've been out and about asking people whether we should abolish the licence fee and stop sending these people an absolute truckload of money. YouTube star Mahyar Tousi, should the BBC be reformed?
Reformed, abolished, destroyed, that's not going to change anything because the new media is destroying the BBC and the mainstream media. Of course, there's absolutely no point in having an old school model. It's an analog world that's trying to live in the digital era, and it has to go. And there's no, if these idiots, they're saying that, you know, we are talented, our content is amazing. Well, if it's so good, the demand is there. People will pay for it, either with adverts or through subscription.
So there should be more advertising in TV.
OK, why?
They're entertaining. It's more entertaining often than the programs.
Oh, come on, that's a bit cheeky. You're saying the BBC programmes are less interesting than the adverts on Channel 4?
It's been around a long time and it's meant to be reasonably impartial, but...
Is it impartial, though?
No.
How do we deal with that problem?
I don't know, you change the rules or something, but, you know, there are some people at the BBC who don't behave in the way they should.
Do you think it's important to retain the licence fee, or should we consign it to the history books?
I think, we need to get rid of that.
Do you think that now it's time to change the funding model? The licence fee's been around for quite a long time.
It's under quite a bit of pressure. I think it should be just discretionary. You know, for those people that want to use it, then fair enough. But I think for a lot of people, it's time for that, I would have thought.
It's the time to abolish the licence fee. What are you going to replace it with?
I don't know, a subscription model?
You're probably not going to get the same quality of high-level programming, would be my guess. Many people watch the BBC partly because they don't get the advertising. I don't listen to some radio stations because I get fed up with the advertising.
If more people at the BBC were like you, it would definitely survive for another 100 years.
You think so? Well, I just been hired, and I hope they don't get rid of me after this interview. But I just want to say, I've got just a cucumber that I was about to eat when you stopped me.
Okay, we'll eat your cucumber. There we go. Can I bite of your cucumber? Can I bite?
Yes, you can. You know, this is all about being open-minded, guys, and sharing is caring.
They don't realise that things have moved on. You know, you can have amazing new shows like That Was the Work That Was.
Do you think the BBC is a waste of money?
I don't think it's a waste of money. I think maybe we should just change to a subscription model. I mean, how else are they going to fund things like this egg over here?
The egg looks great. Let's get a view. Let's get a view of the egg.
Paper mache.
So the BBC licence fee is the goose that laid the golden egg, and always remember that's going to be served for Gary Lineker's Christmas dinner. Ugh, horrendous. All on Match of the Day. Well, we've had some BBC journalists who've admitted the funding mechanism needs to change, but none of them have told me about the BBC canteen. So it's time to have a bit of food. Turkey Twizzler and chips. Yum yum. Right, so now this is the deciding question. Ooh. Right, Tom Watson, who famously lost 8 stone, has revealed he's releasing a Christmas workout video.
Oh my goodness, please be true. Please be true. Please be true.
If the Watson did the tassels, would that be a more appealing prospect?
No. Oh, no.
No.
Because, of course, what happens...
No.
Right, always remember, it'll be like a deflated balloon.
Yeah.
It'll be like a deflated... Oh, you've never been to... You must have been to...
I've not been at one of those shows.
He's been to Long Legs in Manchester. He knows it.
No.
Chinatown, just get off Sackville Street.
You know exactly where it is.
Listen, you spend all your spare time in Hooters, we know. But, listen,
there's only one branch of Hooters in the UK, it's in Nottingham.
Yes,
oh, is that?
I did know.
There you go.
That I did know.
Come on, Barnes.
Not doing that. My mum watches this.
That is a really not a good, nice thought.
But actually, look, isn't there an argument, Pete? Isn't there an argument for saying that just as Matt Hancock has brought politicians, you know, into the real world, into the world of celebrity, a Tom Watson workout video would also bring, I don't know, politicians into the world of fitness, which has been so popular recently.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I know he has written a book about his kind of weight loss journey, and the amount of weight that he lost was quite a story because I think he'd been to Glastonbury or something, and that's when people noticed how much weight he'd lost. But I do think Emma's right that we are kind of glamorising certain aspects of this. And was it you? Sorry, every time you talk, Mario, it just sounds like me in my ear.
It sounds like
it was very helpful. So he assumed this was me.
Hang on.
But I think this is the key point: is that we're not holding people accountable once they kind of leave office or they move into like the House of Lords or something like that.
And he ruined people's lives. They've still got the effects of it. And mud sticks, and it's a knock-on effect to all their family members as well. And I absolutely unbearable man.
I'm just going to say one thing, because I am going to actually give the winner of this entire competition. First of all, we're going to ask you about whether Tom Watson's doing a workout video, but then there's going to be a specialist question that comes next. Right, is he done a workout video, yes or no?
No.
600 points, it's false. But here is the tie break, because you're both on 5,328 points.
Wow.
OK, the tie break is this. Tom Watson made a formal complaint to the Daily Telegraph, begging them not to mention an item that he'd expensed during the expenses scandal. Can you tell me what it was? Now, what we'll do is let both of you have a guess. Right, so OK, just talk amongst yourself just for a second. Right, there we go. OK, this is going to be really excellent. I guarantee you they are not going to. If they don't know it, they won't be able to guess it. So, to Lizzie and Pete.
Calvin Klein underwear.
Oh, God. Oh,
Yeah.
No. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And there'd just be that little mark. Oh, God. OK, so to Emma and Mahyar.
Well, this is the previous Watson, so something foodie. Chicken Nando's or
sausage roll.
Food.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Greg's.
I'll tell you what. You were closer, so I'm going to let you win the competition. But let me tell you, the thing that Tom Watson complained to the Daily Telegraph about that he had expensed was a pizza wheel. Now, it's also worth pointing out that the MP for Romford, Andrew Rosnell, got into trouble for expensing jellied eels. Yeah. But I suspect in Romford that wasn't necessarily a problem. But look, I want to thank my teams for tonight: the wonderful Lizzie Cundy and Pete Barnes, and of course Emma Barr and Mahyar Tousi. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week for another exciting episode. Until then, goodbye.